Live from the Moody Campus Radio Studios in Chicago, Illinois, this is The Letter M. The Letter M with Van Ferro and Andrew Shroyer. Hi, this is Van Ferro.
And I'm Andrew Shroyer.
And we are here on The Letter M. So, that never happened to us before. That's funny. Anyway, so we are doing... What are we doing tonight?
My favorite franchise.
What is your favorite franchise?
Friday the 13th franchise.
Oh, yeah.
To celebrate this month, because this month, December 13th, is a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, there is a Friday the 13th this month. And actually, we were supposed to do this show for next week. Because next week is Friday the 13th for December. However, there has been a directive from up above that all Moody Campus radio shows are supposed to do a Christmas episode.
Yes.
So what are we doing next week?
A Christmas Story.
Yes! With Ralphie and stuff.
Ralphie?
Yeah, Ralphie!
Well, in this movie, we got a crazy Ralph, which is... That's very...
Whatever. So we're doing Friday the 13th. If you have seen any of the movies, or if you have anything that you would like to share about like the Friday the 13th movies that you know of, or if there's any other slasher movies that you would want us to talk about, you can let us know on our Facebook page at theletterm.mcr or on our Twitter page at theletterm on MCR.
Yes. I do have I have a question that I want to throw out here at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
Before we even start our greetings.
Okay.
For those of you who are listening, I want to know how many of you know what movie it is that Jason gets his famous hockey mask in.
Oh, I know the answer.
In the Friday the 13th franchise. You do because you've been through the whole
franchise.
franchise.
I know the answer, yeah, because we've seen like the movies like a gazillion times. Yeah.
No, just once.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it's like, if you haven't heard of the Friday the 13th series, and I'm pretty sure there are some people who haven't heard of the Friday the 13th series here at Moody.
Or probably have heard of it, but never watched it.
Yeah, because it's Moody, you know. I mean, let's be honest, you know. Okay, so Friday the 13th is a slasher movie, and we'll kind of like define to you later what slasher movie is and all that. And Friday the 13th features one of the most famous villains in movie history, actually, not only in horror movie history, but like in movie history, Jason Voorhees, and he wears a hockey mask.
Yes, famously wears a hockey mask.
Yes, but the question is, in what movie did he start wearing the hockey mask? And we're also going to know later, like, why is he wearing the hockey mask? So.
Yep, and the answer may surprise you. Hopefully, somebody who is listening knows the answer. Mm-hmm. The answer does surprise you.
Well, I'm pretty surprised that. Well, I'm not actually surprised if somebody knows the answer, but you know. Oh well. Yeah. Well, anyway, we're going to start with our greetings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So who do we want to greet first?
Okay. You should start.
Yeah. Actually, before we go with our greeting, since this kind of like covered by our department here at the at MCR, I'd just like to kind of like mention something about a really tragic death this week. Paul Walker. Yeah. I thought it was a hoax. So I was like reading this in Michigan, and then all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, it's just a hoax," and like apparently it's true.
Yeah. I didn't hear about it until like yesterday, but that's sad. Yeah,
and it's kind of ironic that the guy died in a car crash when he started like the Fast and the Furious movies. That was like the first thing that we were like thinking of. So that was like pretty sad. Actually, he died on a single car crash with his friend driving the car while they're taking this Porsche and for a joyride while they're doing a fundraising event for the victims of the typhoon in the Philippines. And that was like pretty sad. Like the Philippines right now is pretty sad about this, that he spent like the last hours of his life raising funds for the typhoon victims. So that was like pretty good. But Fast and the Furious, I've read the franchise itself, they were supposed to release number 7 next week. I mean, not next week, next year, but they have to postpone it for a bit, just to give some, just to give like some respect for Paul Walker and his family, and to figure out where the franchise is going to go. So that is like really, that's kind of like heartbreaking. Especially he's pretty young. He's like 40 years old. So that's pretty sad. Yeah. I don't know what to say actually.
Yeah, just our hearts go out to the family. It's a tragedy. It's very unexpected, very young.
Yeah, it is really unexpected. But wherever he is, wherever he is, because we don't really know. We'd like to thank him for the work that he's been doing before he passed away. So, rest in peace, Paul Walker. And,
yes.
We will watch for the 7th Fast and the Furious. I heard that he actually filmed like more than half of the filming is more than halfway done. So I don't think that they're going to be scrapping the entire movie and reshoot everything. I mean, that'd be like untold millions of dollars that the studio's going to like spend just doing that. So I think they would keep him in the movie. So we're going to be waiting for that movie.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really worth seeing. I think I fell off of this series after 2 or 3, but
me too.
Yeah. It'll be really worth rewatching just in light of this.
Yeah. So, well, that's that for Paul Walker. On a lighter note, we're going to go ahead with our usual greetings.
Yeah.
So, Jasmine has a contract with the letter M that she will be greeted first during every show. So, Jasmine Villicana, thank you for listening.
Yes.
And also, we would like to greet Jacob Zentmeyer, Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is not playing video games right now. So, what? Okay, Jay-Z is not playing video games right now. He's listening to us.
Yes,
So,
I think he's listening to us while playing video games.
well, I mean, it's like we're kind of like the show which you could listen to while you're playing video games.
I do enjoy that. That would be great. I don't actually listen to us. I listen to In the Mix after this while playing video games.
In the Mix, yes. In the Mix actually follows the letter M at 10 p.m. So if you would like stick around with all this craziness, you will get more craziness at 10 o'clock with In the Mix with Zoe Ashcroft, Rebecca Haggard, and Christina Crawling. Oh, yeah. So are there any special people that we'd like to greet tonight? I'm like thinking.
Is there any special that you would like to greet?
Well, is there anyone special in your life right now that you want to greet?
I would like to greet our wonderful program manager.
I know,
Adelina.
our #1 fan.
Yeah, she's very, very special.
Yeah, and she's been working hard. She has been here at Sweden 4, which is like, our radio station floor. She's been here since like 12 o'clock working projects. Wow, what a hardworking woman. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and she's very supportive. She's very awesome. So, what more can you say? What more can you request? So, Adelina, thank you very much for listening. And, I mean, it's like, she's just amazing. She allowed us to do Friday the 13th here at the MCR.
Woo!
So, yeah, I think we are the first MCR show to ever touch on Friday the 13th. Yeah, because, like, a lot of people, they're like, what's the redeeming value in watching these films and stuff? And, like, well, I mean, that's why we're here. That's why the letter M is here. It's like, we're here to, like, pick out what are the things that we can learn spiritually from stuff like this in pop culture, like slasher films, or like things that Christians, Christians, quote unquote, usually stay away from. So, it's pretty nice. So, who else do we have to greet? I think Drew Smith may be listening at Joe's right now. Yeah, and he is going to be tweeting us 140 characters at a time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Well, Drew, I'm pretty sure you'll have a lot to tweet tonight. So, who else do we need to greet? Let's see. What's our sister floor again? I forgot our sister floor. Gosh, it's all the turkey.
Man, 8 West.
8 West. Yes. Who are the people who want to be greeted at 8 West? Aside from Jasmine, who was like contractually obligated to be greeted like at the beginning of the show.
So you want me to greet them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yay.
I mean, you look ready right now.
Oh yes. How funny is that?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to start out with not thanking, but greeting. Thanking. Okay.
Did they ever do anything for us? Oh yeah, they did.
Yes, they do a lot for us.
Oh yes.
But some of them that I know that can be listening right now. We'll get to some of those that are in Christmas carols.
Candlelight carols.
Candlelight carols.
Yes.
Christmas carols. Either way, it's by Christmas time. It's But we'll get to them like later on because they'll be
Yeah, they're actually rehearsing right now at Moody Church because Candlelight Carols premieres on December 5th. December 6th, which is going to be this Friday at 7 p.m. So if you still haven't gotten your tickets for Candlelight Carols, I think they are available online. I'm not quite sure how to actually get the tickets, but the tickets are $14 and $12 if you're like a student. So this usually Moody puts up like a really good show for Candlelight Carol, so you wouldn't want to miss this. If you're a student, well, you know, I mean, it's also nice to like see it. But if you're like a donor or if you're like an alumni, it's like this is something that you shouldn't be missing. And if you're like international, you know, I mean, you can always like fly in here and you know stay at one of our dorm rooms with you know our students and watch Candlelight Carols. Yeah, so we will be greeting those people for Candlelight Carols later on near the end of the show because that's the time when they're like done with their rehearsals and stuff. So, are you watching Candlelight Carols?
I'm trying to go to it because I know I got some friends that are going into it. So
you can
that
usher.
are going to be performing. That are you know.
Yeah, you can usher because like my roommate Robert LeLauren is ushering for Candlelight Carols and I'm doing camera work.
Ooh, maybe I can do candle work too. Camera work.
Okay.
Candle work, yeah.
You can do some candle work too. I mean, it's Candlelight Carols, right? So yeah. We would like to greet Annie Stoltzfus. I don't think Annie Stoltzfus is back yet. She's the best woman RA in Moody because she's on her sister floor. Yeah, Annie Stoltzfus. Who else do we need to greet?
Yeah, but Annie is missed. You were missed today. Thank you. And let's see. Okay, we said that we're gonna get the Candlelight Carols at the end, right? Okay, so I have to remember those four. Corey
Ladd, yeah, RA's best friend. Yeah, the RA it sounds like a rom-com. The RA's best friend.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do the rom-com. Yeah. We would also like to greet Carrie Wolf, who's also downstairs. Right? No, she wasn't downstairs. Usually she's like hanging out with her fiance Austin, who's keeping us safe up here.
Yes.
Yeah. Austin is the public safety guy who's always in charge whenever we're up here because we have like hordes of fans who want to get up here, and he's making sure that none of them get up here and you know be crazy and like I don't know start battering the doors or something like that. So Austin and Carrie, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you guys
for keeping us safe. It's really hard to keep us safe, you know. I mean, especially we do like a lot of crazy things. So
no, not us.
No, it's not crazy. Yeah, we've been through like a lot of like public safety guys already who like refuse to give us security because we're just crazy. And Austin is pretty much like the one who like
he's the coolest.
Yeah, he just like kept with us pretty much. So Austin, thank you very much for keeping up with us. Who else we need to
keeping
greet?
up?
Oh, Emily Norris. Emily Norris is our new horror movie buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually watching Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th next week.
Yes.
Yeah, with somebody that we're going to be greeting later because she's playing the clarinet.
Also, she's in PCM. Emily's in PCM right now.
Oh, she's in PCM right now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should have like told her to like, you know, take like a transistor radio and listen to us through the transistor radio.
Nah, that's, yeah, well, that might actually be possible. But oh well, that's all right.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk to Barry to put us on the radio.
Okay, I would like that.
Barry, I saw you shopping in DC. Yes.
Just put us on some miscellaneous like 87.5 or something.
Yeah,
just
or 90.1. We can actually replace 90.1.
Which is
Moody Radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're like more fun than you know. I don't know,
course.
Like Mike Kellogg or something like that. I mean, no, just kidding. You know, we're just kidding. We don't want to be fired.
It's different. I think in Pennsylvania. I don't think it's 90.1.
It's in Pennsylvania. I think it's like 89.1. I think because you guys get Newcastle. I think I'm not sure, but anyway. Who else do we need to greet at the sister floor? Mindy Shekel. Mindy Shekel is taking a nap right now. Mindy Shekel, she's the girl that we've always wanted to like host for country night because she hates country with a passion. We were trying to convert her, that way her salvation is complete. Amen. But we still weren't able to do that. So please pray for her complete salvation, pretty much. So Mindy Shekel, she's taking a nap right now because she's been up to, like you know, for a long time. Fiona Grant and Carly Navarez. Best friends. Yes, they're listening right now. Madison Van Winkle. her Canadian last name is so difficult
Yeah,
to
Maggie.
pronounce. Maggie from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we call Maddie. Maggie from Canada. So Maggie from Canada, thank you for listening to us. Who else? Ashley. Ashley Gamboa
Ashley
is
Gamboa.
listening to
Yeah,
us.
so she's on Facebook right now, so she may be
Oh, she's
listening.
on Facebook right now? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, chat her. Yeah. And we would also like to greet Pearl.
Pearl.
Pearl Windle.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually picked her up from her nannying work. It's like, do you know that nannies earn like 13 to 15 bucks an hour?
Oh, I earned 20
From what?
an hour.
From what? Nannying?
Nannying.
Oh, that's not how much my parents pay you. Yeah.
It's more.
Yeah, I'm like surprised. Like, you earn more than that? It's like, wow. So she's making bank right now. I think she's like nannying right now. So, good for you. You're making bank. So, unlike the rest of us. So, who else do we have to greet? Well, we have Charity, whom I've never seen Charity before, and Grace Kim. Grace Kim I've seen twice, but we're gonna greet her anyway because she's on the sister floor. Catherine Lorman, Miss Faber. Yeah, so she's like
Yeah.
she is a beautiful girl who fobs you and makes sure that you get your dinner.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
she
she's
listens
awesome.
to us too. I'm really glad she.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm
really
glad she listens to us
Yes.
too. Who else do we have to greet from the sister? I'm like mentally running down the.
Well,
the
yeah,
floors.
I'm running down them, and then I'm trying to continuously like skip over the ones that I know that
Yeah,
are.
that we know are there. Who else? Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure. Okay, if you're from 8 West and we're forgetting your name, please let us know because like we
Yeah,
would
and
feel
you're listening.
really. Nicole Janho.
Nicole, yeah.
Yeah, Mackenzie Maras's roommate. Well, we're gonna greet Mackenzie later, so because she's on Candlelight Carols too. So there's a lot. Okay, so now let's go to the best floor in Moody, which is
8 West.
what? No.
I mean, oh, I'm sorry. I was just
Wow.
my mind. It was just a
Wow.
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip. I'm pretty sure that's a Freudian slip. So, well, Dryer 3.
I wonder what floor our program manager is on.
Good question. Yeah, Adelina, if you're listening right now, we would like to know which floor you are, and we're going to give a shout out to that floor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's like the only bright spot in that floor. Whatever it is, so, unless we know what floor it is, we'll just call her the bright spot of her floor or something like that. So, well, we would like to greet Dryer 3, starting with Bryce Ballard, who actually just came back. Yeah, he was asking me to pick him up from O'Hare today at 7 p.m., but I'm like, no, we have the radio show, so he took the train back.
Woo,
Yeah,
train.
and we're having a day 2 on Thursday, so
Oh.
that's awesome.
Oh, okay.
What?
That's why we broke up last week.
Okay, look, you don't take me out on dates. It's like every time, it's like you would take me out to dinner and then I pay for it. You should pay for it next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We'll see.
Fine. Okay, so Bryce Ballard, and then we're just going to run through. Do you want to greet anyone in D3? Yeah.
Let's see. I want to greet my roommate. I don't know if he's alive right now. Alive meaning awake.
Oh, I saw him.
Did you?
Well, I saw him. He was still alive.
Well, I know he's still alive. I mean, like, is he still awake?
Where is he at? I didn't see him in your room today.
No,
Yeah.
we by the way, he came into my room at 10 after 7, and I'd already started 20 minutes into Friday the 13th, the original one, because I was watching it for inspiration as before we came here.
Yeah. So.
Haha.
So Elias, do you know that Elias Alvial is going to be the Jew in the Jew and the Gentile next season?
Amen.
Yes. So pretty
Can't
much
wait.
Dryer 3 would be running Moody Campus Radio at this
Yeah.
point in time. Yeah. So you
It's
have
great.
like the letter M and then the Jew, the sexy Jew and the Gentile. They're actually changing the name of the show. It's now the sexy Jew and the Gentile. I guess it's like one of the contract stipulations of Elias Alvial.
Yeah.
We should do that for a show. We should add like something provocative in our show name.
We kind of already do.
Oh, yeah, the letter M. It is very provocative. You can think of anything that you can substitute with the letter M.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What was well, we do movies, music, media, Moody. What else can the letter M stand for?
I
I would rather not think.
moms. Yeah, that's
moms,
rough if you do that.
Mumps. What else? Yeah, we can go like health-wise mumps. It's like I mean like a lot of people do that. And you like Larry the Cable Guy, okay?
I do.
You're on Facebook, and we are on Facebook. We are on Facebook, actually. So if you want to join us in our conversation, you can join us on Facebook at theletterm.mcr or on our Twitter page at theletterm on MCR. So we'd like to greet our favorite German, Jonas Gans. Well, Tim Carlson will greet him later because he's currently playing the violin in Candlelight Carol's rehearsal. Mark Lemonager. Robert LaLauren, who is, I think he's in a room right now because he just came from PCM and then he'll be working like an hour. So Robert LaLauren, yeah, Robert actually donated some of his clothes to me, so I look like Robert today. So I got a lot of compliments. That was awesome. So we should have like a dress like your roommate day or something like that. So
you can dress like me day.
I've dressed up like you for like the entire semester.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was in like cowboy boots and like jeans and like plaid shirts and cowboy hat. So I already. Why don't you dress like me?
Oh
well. I'd also like to greet Mitchell Trees. Mitchell Trees is listening right now with his special friend Janelle. So I think they're like studying right now. So we stayed at Mitch's. Oh, by the way, after we complete our greetings, we should let each other know of our Thanksgiving breaks. Oh yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
We have some interesting
breaks.
stories about your Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So there's Marcus Goebel, who lives like next door. And then Damon Wenig, who runs everything pretty much at Moody. John Forsyth, Dave Thompson, Druber, Andrew Hilsman. We're having a date tomorrow too. I'm just like full of dates this week. It's so weird.
Yeah, I know.
Good thing like people are paying for it, so that's awesome. Yeah, if you want to date me, just go to our Facebook or Twitter page. It's like, as long as you pay for it, I'm fine with that. Andrew is also open for dates. So if you're willing to pay for dinner for me or him, or you can do like both of us, honestly. Like, we don't really care as long as the food is free. You know, just let us know on our Facebook page and our Twitter page. So who else is there? Chris Lieberman, who says that he wouldn't be listening to us. That hurts. Yeah, and then Jacob Senmeyer, well, we've already greeted him. Jeremy Carlberg. Yeah, he's Christian and he's muscular. So that's how we can describe him. J.R. Roberts, Jonathan Roberts, David Tempoy, John Pierre Nicusa, and Jonathan David Colker, JD, and Michael Ayal, Chris Carnati, and Juan Alban. And then Nick Deditsinas, Chad Smith, what's her roommate's name? Tyler Bojan.
Boj.
Oh my gosh. Aaron Sissom, Isaac Wilson, and who is her roommate? I'm so bad at this.
Which one? Isaac Wilson?
Isaac Wilson.
I didn't even like...
Aaron Sissom and Jason Lehman. How can we forget Jason Lehman? Jason Lehman is a president of the Debate Society.
Yep, and gets his ideas for...
Yeah.
Letter from here.
From the letter M. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be debating about the merits of Friday the 13th for their meeting.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Yes. That'd be a very good like debate idea. Jason Morath, Tim Holt, and Caleb Pipes. Yeah, they're like the cool room with all of like the upperclassmen and stuff. Sean Mansheim, Josh Nelson, and Ben Whiteley. And then what else are we forgetting? There's Thomas Ashley, Wei Mungil Kim, and Trevor Solomon, and then of course the funniest room on the floor, and perhaps out of all Moody, Ben Picari, John Wilson, and Adam Swing.
Yeah.
So those are the three guys. So yeah.
Yay.
We're all like single and ready to mingle.
Yay.
Yeah. I mean, not that we're advertising ourselves really, but like, you know. Yeah, I'm not ready for a relationship right now. What about you? Are you ready for a relationship right now?
Am I ever ready for a relationship?
God, stop it. Yeah. So, well, if you want to be greeted on air, actually, just let us know on our Twitter page at the letter M on MCR, or on our Facebook page at the letter M.MCR.
Yeah, I want to greet my family back home too.
Yes.
My dad, Brian, Grandma, Dorothy, and my Aunt Misty. Thank you for listening. My Aunt Tiffany, she was recently in a horror film similar to the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, Tiffany Kemp is Andrew's aunt. So if you start hearing like Tiffany Kemp on the radar, yeah, you should remember us.
Yes, because she is an actress. She was just in a really good movie. It was called All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. We should watch that. Actually,
we are. I got it for Christmas.
You got it for Christmas, so we will be watching it after Christmas break.
Yes.
That'll be good.
I can't wait. My brother thinks it's going to be good too.
Austin Shroyer.
Yeah,
yes.
Austin.
I'm pretty sure that he thinks it's also good. Who else do we want to greet? I think those are just people, right? Are we forgetting anyone?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If I miss you, just let me know.
Yeah. If we missed you guys. Thanksgiving. What did you do for Thanksgiving? By the way, we didn't spend Thanksgiving together, so that was pretty rough. Yeah, alright, whatever. It's like, what did you do for Thanksgiving?
I went to Connellsville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I think you have to tell them the story of how you got to Connellsville, Pennsylvania.
No.
What?
If my dad is listening, I already told him he doesn't want to know.
Okay, yeah. We are not going to let him know how you got to Connellsville, Pennsylvania, so...
Let's just say there may or may not have been a couple laws broken on the way.
I mean, that's like special circumstances, pretty much. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that I will never do again.
Yeah, let's just say that what we did is something that's not on my bucket list that I was able to check off of my bucket list.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. So, yeah. So, what did you do for Thanksgiving?
Well, after the heart attack that I had before getting to the train, getting on there, coming home in the morning,
okay.
I spent the time with family. Like that's really all Thanksgiving was just spending time with family, and I mean, my best friend who's family too, because family in the sense of the word, I'm not gonna say, but
because family is not only like.
Family's where your heart is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do know where your heart is. So.
Teehee.
Yeah. So, so what else did you do?
Yeah, I just ate with family. Had a really great time there. We had it at both of my grandparents' house because
so with Ba and with Dorothy, right?
Yes, yeah. So we had it on both sides, and it was great. Both sides of the family. The food was amazing. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah. What did you have for Thanksgiving?
Just turkey galore.
Apart from turkey.
And noodles. My grandma always makes great noodles. And bread, and we always have great bread with. My aunt buys the greatest butter. Like I always use half the butter, and she yelled at me because she said, "You're gonna use just wait and conserve half like the butter, because don't use it for everybody else." I got yelled at. So before I even did anything, I was guilty before I did anything.
Well, you're always guilty.
I know it's okay. Yeah, it's just part of being me. It's hard. And then I went Black Friday shopping also.
You went Black Friday
for the first
shopping?
time ever.
For the first, what did you buy?
I bought one of the movies I bought was Friday the 13th 9 through 11, which completes my 12 Friday the 13th movies. Yes, there are 12 in the franchise.
That's why we're actually starting the marathon starting next week. Yeah. If you want to join us, we're going to be at Jenkins.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Please just contact me and let me know if you want to join us, because you are more than welcome.
Yeah.
It'll be really super fun if we can just have you and just blast the movie. And
yeah, it's like we're gonna let the Jenkins Hall walls fall down.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
I bought 8. I repeat 8 slasher movies.
Yeah, actually
8 at FYE. Just
actually,
at FYE.
You know what? I kind of know the guy who's like on duty for public safety at Jenkins. He goes to my church.
Cool.
Yeah. So, what? No, not that church. Yeah. So, what? Yeah. So he'd be able to, he'd be able to give us some grace, pretty much.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, wait. So you went Black Friday shopping for the first time ever?
And I was there for 5 minutes, and it wasn't actually that busy.
So you didn't kill people for towels and stuff?
I did not. I did not kill anybody.
So
nobody actually got run over or anything.
So wait, so you were there for like 5 minutes. What made you go?
The fact that I had wanted these as a Christmas present, but I found that I could get them cheaper there than on Amazon. So I just yeah.
Oh.
Because you're gonna pay at least $4 on Amazon at the cheapest because it's $3.99 shipping and handling, and if you can get it for a penny, so that's $4. If you can't do the math, I know you're a Moody student and
we can do math here.
Well, you're Baptist too, so
what? You are kidding me. We can do math. It's like, how do you think we're able to like figure out like how much wine to use in communion?
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I just found out that like I scanned it before I went there. Like I had a list of all the movies and what their prices were on Amazon.
You came in prepared.
Yeah, I had a list of like 30 movies, and only like 10 of them were there, and like a lot of them were a lot cheaper on Amazon. But I got like 3 or 4, or even like the Friday the 13th one was just as much on there as it is on Amazon. So I figured I might as well get it here. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the basis of why I went there, and I hid them in just specific areas that I knew nobody would go.
And we're not going to mention those specific areas on air because
I hid them, and so that I went in there and was like, oh, there they are, and I got them, and yeah, that
is actually a very smart idea.
I know.
Honestly.
If you want to go, although I'm 100% certain that nobody's gonna go, oh, let's go Black Friday shopping for Friday the 13th, parts 9 through 11, and Halloween.
You never know.
Hatchet. I highly doubt that anybody is going to be getting that. But, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, for Thanksgiving, it was a pretty, manly Thanksgiving. Stupendous, actually. Because we got to kill a deer, courtesy of Ben Wallace and his family. Ben Wallace, by the way, is one of the soccer guys, and he's one of the guys for Informal. So we got to kill a deer, and what? It's like, okay, for a city boy, that's like a milestone. It's like, my country transformation is finally complete.
Okay.
Yes, and you don't want to admit it. So, okay, so we were like, we were ready to go to Mitchell Treese's house, where we spent Thanksgiving with. I spent Thanksgiving with Mitchell Treese and his lovely, and hospitable family, and then with Hunter Williams and Mongil Kim. So, we were about to leave. We dropped off Ben Wallace at his house, which is like about 20-30 minutes away from Mitchell's house, when his friend Jesse comes in, and he was like, hey, somebody run over a deer, like, in front of the church, and the deer's broken its leg. So apparently, when a deer's broken its leg, it's kind of like a death sentence or something for a deer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because apparently he would, like, just die slowly. So...
Messenger of God.
Stay here. So we hunted down the deer, and it took us like about 30 rounds of shots to like kill the deer. And I was holding like this marine issue like knife, and then Ben Wallace's brother Nate was holding a sword and stuff. So like to make the long story short, we killed the deer. And then when we got to Mitchell Treese's house, we shot guns. So I shot my first shotgun. Okay, that's not going to happen on Friday the 13th, pretty much. So, yeah. So, those are our Thanksgiving holidays, actually. So, you know what? If you want to share what happened to you on Thanksgiving, like if there's anything interesting, like, I don't know, you got kidnapped by an alien or something like that, let us know here at the letter M. And we're going to, like, let our listeners know on the air what happened with your Thanksgiving. So, yeah, it's... time here at the letter M. So I think we're fresh for a break. So let's go on a break, and when we come back, it's more Friday the 13th, only here on the letter M. So I would like to play My Favorite Things by Family Force 5 here on the letter M. And that was I Celebrate the Day by Reliant K.
Yes, it was. Welcome back to the letter M.
That's scary.
Friday the 13th night.
Oh yeah, it's Friday the 13th night. If you want to join us on our conversation tonight about the Friday the 13th movie series, so it's not only like one movie, we're actually talking about all 13 of them.
12.
12, sorry, because 13 is going to be released next year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if you want to join us on our conversation, you can join us by letting us know what you liked or what's your favorite movie from the franchise, actually, if you've watched and you've been following the franchise. You can let us know on our Facebook page at theletterm.mcr or on our Twitter page at theletterm on MCR.
Yes.
I blacked out.
That's sorry. Okay.
It's like, okay. Yeah. So let's start out. What is a Friday the 13th series for people who don't know anything about Friday the 13th?
Okay. Friday the 13th is a horror franchise, and we said slasher, and I should just explain what a slasher film is. Slasher film is a subgenre of the horror. Like, horror is not just like it's like its big picture, and there are different subgenres, and they have like different kinds of scary movies, like different kinds of subgenres in that in that genre. Slasher movie is one that was made popular in the 1980s almost exclusively by the Friday the 13th franchise. And a slasher movie is about one person who is stalking you and is stalking like a bunch of teenagers at a remote location, whether it's a camp or whether it's at a school, whether it's at a movie theater. You see tons at a mall. You see tons and tons of these movies in the 80s that just have different settings and stuff. But it's about one killer who's doing that and just goes around and is killing people, and it's scary. And they all have like a certain kind of like set up to them, although some vary, but the good ones all have the same sort of kind of formula to them, especially during the 80s. So like that was the big thing in the 80s. They've kind of evolved since then, but that's pretty much been the main focal point of the 80s ones, and that's where 8 of the 12 came out in the 80s. So
and like compared to like the other slasher movies of the time before this, and there was like Halloween, there was
Black Christmas,
which is we started Black Christmas, we stopped at the 12 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, we'll finish it.
Maybe
tonight. I don't know.
I don't know if like tonight would work.
Yeah, we'll see.
I haven't done my devotionals today. So,
yeah.
So we'll finish it Wednesday. We can actually do it like Wednesday.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So what was the thing that was different with the Friday the 13th series compared to the other slasher movies of the period?
Yeah. I think Black Christmas wasn't really that successful. It didn't really make any kind of impact in box office or anything. Halloween did though, and Halloween made $50 million in 1978 with a $350,000 budget. It was built on suspense, and Sean Cunningham, who was the director of the original Friday the 13th, really took that idea and he kind of just put a different setting to it. Instead of it being in like a small town and it being this crazy killer, he puts it, you don't even know who the killer is at all in 65 of the 90 minutes of the film. You don't even know who it is that's stalking these kids, these teenagers. And the thing that's different about this too is it's based in a camp in the middle of the woods. And actually the original one was filmed in Blairstown, New Jersey, and Hope, New Jersey, which we've been to.
We have pictures.
So, they're on Facebook. Check them out.
That was like the weekend where I spent like 48 hours in a car with Andrew Shroyer, and we were just listening to country music
the entire time.
It was glorious. It was stupendous, crazy, joyful, fruitful, princessy, all of like the panty shield adjectives. So
So, like, Sean Cunningham took that idea of, like, building up suspense for the audience and kind of made it into the campy setting, which to me works so much better just because it's, like, creepy. Like, yeah. And the score by Harry Manfredini is just phenomenal. Like, and it is just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like... Some of the things that like works best for that film is like I was telling you earlier is that like it it combines the suspense buildup of different scenes and the music and it building up suspense, but it also like makes you jump too. And it just is scary. Like it just makes you. It's just really effective.
And that's something that slasher movies are always striving to achieve.
Yeah.
Have,
although more, I will criticize the ones that are made lately. If there's any jump scenes at all, they're just jump scenes and there's no build up of suspense or anything to them.
Well, I mean, today, like slasher films of today are more about like the gore, and like
more building
this
up
doesn't happen in real life, but like in slasher movie world, it does.
Yeah. So, but like honestly, when they first back in 1980, when the first Friday the 13th movie came out, it scared people because like if you think about it, there's no movie made like this before other than Halloween.
And Halloween wasn't like it's more of like creepy than
than just flat out like scary. Like there are a couple jumpy parts, like one maybe two, but like for the most part, like it's just creepy. But this one is both creepy and scary. And so it made $40 million in the box office in 1980. So they immediately went with a sequel, and that spawns the Friday the 13th. Nobody has responded yet, but I might as well say, like, the original Friday the 13th does not have Jason Voorhees as the killer. So that's something that most people don't know. They just think, oh, Jason's in all 12.
And this is something that the movie Scream, the first Scream, actually highlighted. So when Ghostface was calling Drew Barrymore's character, Casey, asking her about like movie trivia, he asked her like who was the killer in the first Friday the 13th, and like Casey, of course, she's like panicking, her popcorn's like popping already and stuff like that. She was like, oh, it's Jason, like, no, it's wrong, it's Jason's mother.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I know. So part one, you don't know that through 65 minutes of the film though, which is so great because all of the things that are happening when you see the killer, it's from a first person POV. So it's really, really effective. And so it scared people, so people went to watch it, so they immediately made a second one, which introduces Jason as the killer.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert also, he does not wear a hockey mask. He wears a potato sack over his head.
Until which movie?
Part 3. Which half the movie he does not have anything over his head. Also, but he does get his famous mask in part 3.
After he kills a guy, Shelly, who's a prankster who wears a hockey mask to scare people. Yeah. So
don't prank people too much.
Or else they're going to use your mask to kill other people.
Yes. And that spawns... actually, they actually had made a part 4, which is called the final chapter. Yes, it was supposed to be the final chapter.
Yeah.
They brought back Tom Savini, who is a special makeup effects artist for the first one, for the fourth one. However, didn't end up being the final one because it made killing in the box office as well. Because it was the first 4 were phenomenal movies.
And Hollywood's gospel is like, if it makes money, just keep.
Absolutely. It, So. They made a 5th one, which we've watched before.
That was disappointing.
Takes a turn for the worst in the series. Like,
that was so disappointing. Yeah.
All Friday the 13th fans, I mean, most of them will say that 5th was the lowest point of the series.
Yeah, because like, okay, spoiler alert again. It's like Jason isn't the killer.
Isn't in it at all.
Yeah, it was the ambulance driver.
So it's kind of disappointing at the end. Part 6 does reintroduce Jason though, and Part 6 is a decent movie. It's the most professional made of all of them for sure.
I think that movie had like the best cinematography out of the entire series.
It did. It's
like it just stood out.
Yeah. Part 7 is probably the final.
That's my favorite.
Terrifying. It is terrifying.
Okay, you have like a really pretty girl with like telekinesis. Like,
yeah.
Gosh. Oh my god.
And then him actually stalking people again.
Yeah.
And that for me was like makes it happen. And okay, like I should say like. Part 2 introduces Jason, and one of the things that you kind of see happening throughout the series is that, like, I don't know, for some entries, like, you haven't seen, like, 9 through 11 yet, but you've seen the newest one.
I've seen 13. I've seen 12. Yeah, not 13.
what happens like in the newer ones, like in the 90s and on, like they're not even really as scary. Like they're not really scary anymore. Like they just kind of like lost their touch, I think, with that. But because one thing to take notice is that Jason doesn't become a stalker anymore. He's just going around killing people. It's just made for the kills, and
it's
which
like,
I don't think is.
Well, I mean, the original premise why he kills is because he's trying to get revenge from the camp counselors who just let him drown when he was a kid.
Yes.
So that was like the main premise of Friday.
And so all camp counselors therefore are doomed because they're to blame for his death. All of them, not just that one camp counselor, which we are never actually talked about in the series. Should be introduced, however. I just throwing that out there for a final movie.
Yeah. I'd just like to greet my sister. She's listening right now, Jai. She's got a show on TV5, actually. She's doing news research for a documentary show on TV5, which is the third largest network in the Philippines.
Woo.
So, yeah. She's trying to introduce me to her boss, actually. So, like, when I come back there in, like, 2 years,
Okay, I do wanna praise this one because of where we are in location. We talked about Part 7. Part 6 actually brought Jason back to the camp again. Part 7 was a camp, was just like a house, a couple houses.
It's a
still
different,
at Crystal Lake.
Yeah, it's
though.
a different part of Crystal Lake.
But
the lake itself.
But Part 8 tries something different.
That's weird.
They took Jason to Manhattan in New York City.
Or did they, though?
But they didn't. For only 2.5 minutes of actual runtime in the film is filmed in New York. Or not really, but like 8 in all. But like 3 of it takes place in actual downtown New York, and which is kind of disappointing. But if you think all these movies are made with a low budget, that's one thing to note, is that these movies are all effective and with no budget whatsoever.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, they pretty much just have, like, music and great directing to scare you. That's pretty much what they have. And they are effective. And I think they're the most effective at doing it of all the movies, not big budget
Although,
movies.
like, it didn't quite feel like Friday the 13th, except for, like, when Jason... Yeah, because they're, like, in a cruise ship for most of the time.
For most of the movie. Yeah. And then, like, when they get out even, like, it does seem different. But I would like to praise it because we're in Chicago in a big city, and they go to a big city. And so
Hey, probably Jason's going to show up in your dorm room tonight.
Hey, I bought the photo op for it. I'm just saying of that with over the city, and we got a big outline like that. I'm just saying you might be scared.
Somebody also bought Jason's mask. So, oh my gosh,
I have no idea who. Like I'm saying, like, Part 9 tried something different. Also, Jason is not in the movie for most of the time.
And Part 9 is... We've seen Part 9.
No, we haven't.
We haven't?
Yet.
I know, like, we've seen part of Jason X and part of Freddy... The credits for Freddy versus Jason, which is Part 11. Which is, like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, you know... Oh, well. And then I know we've seen Part 12.
Yeah.
It has, like, one of my most favorite scenes. Stupendous.
It's very stupendous.
Yeah. So... Yeah. So that's pretty much Friday the 13th in a nutshell. So
quick summaries.
Yeah, because I mean we can't give away all the plot spoilers.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna watch it anymore and stuff. So
please watch them. Though they are worth watching. Even if you don't want to be scared, watch some of the later entries in the series. Watch Freddy versus Jason. I mean, it's 2 of the biggest horror people like stars. Robert Englund and, well, it should have been Kane Hodder, but wasn't. But that's just for us. Yeah. That's just for us horror buffs too much.
Well, Friday the 13th also exemplified, like, the different elements that you usually see in slasher movies. So, like, for example...
It started it. Well, really, it made
kind of, like,
famous.
wrote the rules.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like, every slasher film, if you're going to observe, like, they follow these specific rules.
And every single Friday the 13th movie follows them. Every single one of them. And like, I love it. It's great.
What's the first rule? That we'll go from, like, usually the beginning of the movie to, like, usually the end of the movie kind of rules that they kind of, like, follow.
Okay. Like, beginning of the movie... There sometimes, like at the beginning of the movie, there's normally a kill pre-credit sequence. So like, you know, the first one, there's one.
It's always a blonde woman.
No.
Not always.
Not part. Alice is not a blonde technically. She's like a redhead in part 2. Part 3, it's the woman in the shop. Remember the woman in the shop and the guy. Part 4, it's the people in the hospital.
Which are may or may not be blonde actually, but like
the girl wasn't blonde. No, Axel wasn't blonde either. The guy, but one of the things, it's just always there's usually a kill pre-credit just to kind of like start it off, but it's normally like really effective. And then the credits start and the music plays, and that's when you really get creeped out. And then you get introduced into the story line a little bit, which in slasher movies, one of the things to note is that for the Friday the 13th franchise, anyways, it takes a lot of flack for not being like very deep in its stories. But one thing that I will definitely defend it is that they're just a bunch of teenagers that are going out to a camp for a weekend. What are you going to get realistically, though? Are you going to get deep conversations? No.
No.
You're not going to find deep conversations in a bunch of teenagers going to camp for a weekend. So I'm going to defend it and say that it's pretty realistic given the circumstances. Also, the Halloween franchise is very realistic, too, in that. It gets deep and it gets like, personal. So I'm just saying, like, I do think that I can defend those a little bit. Like, the acting isn't great in these movies. I mean, their acting isn't like Oscar level. But
I mean, it's not like Meryl Streep or something like
but
that.
But they get the job done. Like it keeps me interested. They keep me interested in the movie. So I mean, it's not like I don't buy their characters.
Well, plus, I mean, it's like, you know, you don't really need like character development in slasher movies because like. One of the main draws is how do they get killed? Yeah.
Different ways, the unique ways. So you don't need a terrible bit. It does help if you have a little bit, which I think they do pretty good a decent job at it given the circumstances. Also, like there are just some different elements of the movies. Immorality always gets you killed.
Yeah, so if you're fornicating or if you are, I mean, just even like naked or like
boozing,
getting drunk,
high,
you're definitely going to get killed.
One of the guys that we listen to that's really funny that does reviews, he actually makes a joke of that in Jason X. Yeah, he wakes up to two people doing that, and he's like, Jason is a Christian after all. He hates that. And so it's just funny because it does seem like there's a lot of morals in that, you can find in that. Like, if you're doing anything immoral, you're going to get killed. Like, Scripture will say, like, it ends in destruction. The road ends in destruction. So it's very similar, but depicting it in a different way. It's just I don't know. Pick your poison, whatever.
So what are the other things? I know there's always the final girl.
Final girl. Friday the 13th is known for their final girl and their chase scenes with the final girl. They are the best chase scenes I've ever seen. It's
like the thing is like it looks like in Friday, like with all the series, like everyone's like easy to kill except for the final girl. Yeah, it seems like, you know, Jason always like has a hard time.
Yeah, he has really hard time. Or Pam, if you want to get, or Rob, if you want to get also technical in part 5. But whatever.
Rob is like one of the he actually stays alive. Yeah, I mean, albeit he was like wheeled out of a stretcher, but like, you know, oh no, I'm talking about part 7. Yeah, no, that's yeah, but the final girl is actually a trope, or it's like one of the stock characters in literature, and usually like the final girl, according to Mr. Clover, Miss Clover, Carol Clover, in her book Men, Women, and Chainsaws: Gender in a Modern Horror Film, the final girl is usually sexually unavailable or virginal. She usually avoids the vices of the victim, so it's kind of like, oh, she shouldn't get killed. Like it builds you with that. And then sometimes she has a unisex name, so it's like a name that can be applied to both men or women. So like, for example, Laurie, like, you know, Laurie Strode of Halloween, Sydney Prescott of the Scream movies, Teddy, I don't know where Teddy comes from. Billy, Georgie, and then like, stuff like that. Also, sometimes the final girl would have a shared history with the killer. It's like, for example, in Halloween, Michael Myers is Laurie Strode's
sister, but you don't know that until part 2.
Until part 2, but like in the remake, you kind of like know that like in part 1.
Which actually, John Carpenter actually regrets ever introducing that to begin with.
Yeah, although in Friday the 13th, though, like any of the women, any of the final girls, they don't have a shared history with Jason. Only that
other than part 3.
Yeah, other than part 3.
Which is never really fully explained, but
yeah, but I mean, it's like slasher movies aren't really known for like
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. You just have to know the kills and stuff. And the final girl is also the investigating consciousness of the film. So what is an investigating consciousness? It basically, the final girl moves the narrative forward, and she. I don't know if I would like beg to disagree with this, but like according to Carol Clover, the final girl usually exhibits intelligence, curiosity, and vigilance. Sometimes, I think.
Sometimes, although I
like the final girl in part 7. Oh yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I do. Well, one thing is for sure. Like she's always like the good girl of the series, like of the movie. So like normally, like you can probably pick up who it is going to be. Although some of them in the Friday the 13th kind of throws a surprise at you. Part 4 and part 12 being 2 of my examples that I'm thinking of. But like usually the most moral person of the movie is going to be the one who ends up living. Yeah. Which is has much spiritual application to it. Yeah. Be careful, be moral, grow spiritually, and you know what? You know what? You may just survive a slasher movie.
Yeah. Also, according to So for all of you moody girls out there, it's like do not go wild because if you are in a slasher movie, you will survive.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Don't go like Girls Gone Wild or something like that. Yeah. Just stay as you are.
Stay good.
Moody girl. Yeah. Also, like the final girl, according to the same writer, Carol Clover, she says that the final girl exemplifies androgynous traits. So basically, she has like the traits of both like a guy and a girl, not in like a cross-dressing way, but it's kind of like, for example, like final girls usually have like short hairstyles.
Alice in part 1.
Yes, and Laurie Strode in the first Halloween, she was kind of like wavy, long hair.
Yeah.
And then like for this one, Alice, and then like for part 7, final girl, she also had like short hair, which is kind of like awful actually. They should have like devised like something. No, she didn't have. She had like longer hair actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Jensen not like Daggett does have a shorter hair in part 8, which is 80s. I mean, it's crazy looking anyhow. So.
So apart from like a short hairstyle, usually the final girl, and I think we've seen this in Friday the 13th too. Like they wear little to no makeup at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that because like especially in part 8, like the girl was wearing like little makeup in contrast to the girl who got killed in shower who wasn't wearing anything. She was wearing a lot of makeup. So don't put on a lot of makeup or else you're gonna get killed. And then they like final girls also have like male oriented skills such as like being experienced in mechanics, loading a gun, or they just kind of like know how to like make traps or something, like with Alice in no I'm sorry, her name is not Alice, right? Part 1?
Yeah, Alice.
So Alice, yeah. I'm getting all these final girls mixed up.
Yeah, just ask me.
So many final girls, yeah. Near the end of the movie, when it was finally revealed that it was Jason's mother who was... wait, I'm getting mixed up. Remember the scene where she was like assembling this like this rope on the door so that nobody can open the door? No, this was before Betsy Palmer comes out as the killer. So she was like locking the door from the inside, and since there weren't any locks, what she did was she tied like this rope around like the beam and then like on the door and stuff. So she has like some physics, I guess, that she knows. So those are like some of the characteristics of the final girl.
Yes.
Yeah, which makes her kind of hard to kill.
Yes. And one of the things is that like this is a like it's made close to $1 billion, and by the end of 2015 it will have made $1 billion. Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham, the creator of the original one, and he didn't do another one until part 9. and he's just produced 9, 10, 11, and 12. So like he hasn't actually been part of like directing them and since part 1, like, but he's been in 9, 10, 11, and 12. Well, he announced that next year they're going to make 2015 the 13th Friday the 13th is going to be coming out. Also, they're going to be making a video game of it and a TV series of the Friday the 13th.
We've played a video game of
we did Halloween.
Yeah, which is kind of like weird because like they count points based on like where you plant the knife.
Yeah, it's like, really weird.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you get like a lot of points when you do like hard shots or something like that. I mean, we're not giving you guys any ideas, of course, but you know, it's like
no, but like I would say, they are going to be coming out with a like a TV show. They did come out with in the like 80s or 90s a Friday the 13th show, but like it wasn't anything with Jason or anything. Like it had nothing to. It had to do with the holiday or the lack thereof, the unlucky day of Friday the 13th. Like, but this one is going to be based on Jason, and like what they're thinking about doing is doing like a background, kind of like the Bates Motel is doing with theirs. Like doing like background and stuff, and Hannibal and stuff. Like they're probably going to do that, which I'm in.
Bates Motel gives is basically the prequel to Psycho.
Yeah,
and Hannibal is like
prequel to
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
which is another movie that we should watch. It's like one of the best horror movies of all time.
It's opinions, but you know.
I mean, it won the Academy Awards.
Yeah. However, I think these should win Academy Awards. However,
they're short. They're too short.
Yeah.
Some of them are like shorter than 90 minutes, which is like the minimum length for a feature-length film for Academy.
Plus, let's be honest, slasher movies will never get the respect they're due.
Well, I mean, let's put Meryl Streep in a slasher movie and see how it goes.
Even when they put a ton of well-known people in it, they still don't like. I Know What You Did Last Summer has a ton of well-known people in it. Still nothing though. But they make a killing. Every one of them, like the ones that are good, like make a killing in the box office. Like they make a ton of money. I mean, look at the first Friday the 13th that spawned this whole thing was made with $550,000. That is like almost nothing to make a movie. And it was, I mean, compare that with The Poltergeist. It was made, I think, 2 years earlier. It had $10 million. $10 million to $550,000. And this movie made more money than
That's
than
more
that
than
one.
like 500% return of investment, actually.
I mean, it made $40 million off of that. And then the next in the sequence was made with $1 million, and $2.5 million, and $2.5 million. So like, in they're made with millions after that, but like they still are bare none almost. Like they're working with, you know, bare none kind of material, which is why a lot of actors and actresses don't want to do slasher films, because you have to do all your scenes yourself. There is no. Well, we can get somebody else.
You can do like body doubles for like you know, for slasher movies.
They don't have the money to do it.
Yeah.
So
plus, I mean, the thing is, it is actually more realistic when you're doing your own stunts. So you know, I mean, I do a slasher film actually. I've done like a lot of films over my life.
Yes.
Yeah. One of them is like Andrew's favorite film.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god.
Very close. 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh,
and just let's do it.
Stop it. So, those are some of the things that you know, that Friday the 13th has actually established for American cinema as a whole. It's given like rules that people should abide by, and actually a lot of producers and directors still abide by the rules that Friday the 13th has like set up. So I mean, these are things that the usual horror movie buff would usually spot, but they're pretty effective actually. I'm like surprised. Like, you know, I mean, a lot of people would be like, oh, that's so cliche and blah blah blah, especially those young creatives, but they work actually.
Yeah, like. And one of the things I want to defend this. I'm just up for defending like the franchise for like everybody will say like, oh, I don't like it because it's unrealistic. People are always walking out in the middle of the woods somewhere. Really, though, we do this every single day if you think about it. We do things like that every single day, and we don't think twice about it because it's some stuff that you do in real life that it's just... Like, it just happens. Like, everybody will do that, and you do it without thinking twice of, like, oh, there might be a killer out here. Like, are you supposed to think that? Like, are you supposed to go around on your in life thinking about that? I'm just saying, like, just on my soapbox for a minute.
Yeah, so... another thing that's pretty interesting with Friday the 13th is it actually has some famous people with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in a few of the movies, in the original one, Kevin Bacon is in it. It's one of his first films. I think Footloose might have been before this.
It was before because like Footloose was released like somewhat later in the year, and Friday the 13th was released like somewhere earlier.
June,
yeah, because it was both like 1980. So Kevin Bacon was starting to become hot.
Yes. And this was one of his movies that he did, which is my favorite of his. But that's just because I'm.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Kevin Bacon. Like, yes, that is Kevin Bacon.
He's in a lot of horror movies, though. Hollow Man, Tremors. Tremors was technically a horror movie, but it's not. But
well, yeah, but like Hollow Man is.
It's pretty creepy.
It is, and he was also invisible there, so
yeah,
which makes him more creepy. Actually.
Yeah, like, I mean he's a really good actor, and he does a really good job at it. But like I'm just like yeah, like him, he's in it. Kevin Bacon is in it, most notably. He's the most famous of them. In part 4, you have Crispin Glover, who is in it. I know that he's in a lot of other well-known things, but
he's in Willard, Charlie's Angels. What else is he on? Yeah, he has like a lot of movies. He's never like the lead role though, except for Willard, which is this creepy movie about this guy who can talk to rats and mobilize rats to kill people. So he was like the lead role there, but other than that, he's always like pretty low-key supporting. But he's a very good actor though, and he does this super awkward like dance scene.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of the movie. It is so funny.
And then who else is it? Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, yes.
He was in 2 movies. He was in 4
and he's in the beginning of 5.
Beginning of 5, Because 5, he was in the beginning, and then it transitions to like some years into the future, and there's another guy playing him, and he's like in this state hospital kind of thing, but it's not really a hospital because it's a house. So I don't know. I think it's more of like a halfway house, really. So Corey Feldman. Who else are like the famous people who have appeared in Friday the 13th?
I don't think that anybody like really famous. I guess. Let's see. Part. I don't think there's anybody like really famous until part. Well, actually, I think the man from. No, he's not from Candyman. Okay. Okay, scratch that. Other than it's made a famous person out of Kane Hodder. Like
Kane Hodder, who plays Jason.
Yeah, he's made famous through it. I mean, he's practically in the horror like in that field with us. Like there's a ton of people like you just say Kane Hodder and you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, like Kane Hodder is well known in horror circles.
Yeah, he is the most famous of all the Jasons. He's the best at it. I'm just like he was in 4 of them.
What makes him the best out of the other people who play Jason?
One thing is he's the most for me he's the most intimidating of all the Jasons. Partially that's in part 7 because of his amazing makeup, but also just the fact of like how like when he just like is like standing there, he finds a way to like look intimidating with it, and he just plays Jason like with the most like fluid, natural like kind of like thing that a lot of the people like in like even the later ones like Derek Mears in part 12 and then Ken Kersinger and Freddy vs. Jason don't do. Yeah. Like they just don't have that. And even like CJ Graham in part 6, he does a good job, but like they just don't quite capture that. In even Richard Brooker, who might be my personal favorite, he's in part 3. Like he's not quite there. Ted White does a good job too in part 4. And then So they don't like part 2. Like most people don't like part 2 because he's like really clumsy and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I mean, it's just more realistic for me. But but you like throughout this whole franchise, like it built up to like he was like bigger than life. Like after like you get through like 6 movies, it's like, okay, well you're making a 7th installment in this series. Like okay, they brought in Kane Hodder, and Kane Hodder's just amazing as Jason, and that went on to make a career out of him. He was just recently is Victor Crowley in the Hatchet series.
Which is, oh my gosh, that was like one of the most violent movies I've ever seen.
It's probably close to the most violent movie ever made. I still like it though because
it's more violent than Saw, and Saw and Hostel are like, gosh.
Yeah. However, it is old school horror. In the area It is my complaint about newer horror movies is that they don't quite capture the creepy level as the old ones do in the 70s and 80s. But this one does. Hatchet is creepy and it's also scary. Like it makes you jump and it's creepy. So if you can put the gore aside, which most of you can't, but it's okay. That's fine. But like he's most notably Victor Crowley in the Hatchet series.
Yeah.
Along with
Danielle Harris, who is like horror movies like
reigning scream queen.
Yeah, she's like in everything.
The greatest scream queen.
Yeah. And well, going back to Friday the 13th, the impressive thing about like Friday the 13th with Kane Hodder is like the challenge is how are you going to be able to communicate something when you have a mask on and all that you have is your body just killing people. It's that's like pretty impressive work. It is difficult to kill people. I mean, not that I've done it, but it's like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So for him, it's like it's really good. So, well, we are going on another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the applications that we can have from Friday the 13th, the franchise. I know that like I was actually surprised. I looked at the time; it's already like 9:26 p.m. here in Chicago. So I don't know what time it is with you guys, with whatever time zone you're listening, but it's 9:26 here in Chicago. So we are going on a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the things that we can apply from the Friday the 13th movie series on our Christian lives, if there's any, which there's actually a lot. So just stay tuned. We are going to be playing another Reliant K Christmas song, I Celebrate the Day, only here on the letter M. And that's I Celebrate the Day by Reliant K, only here on the letter M. And we're coming back to Friday the 13th. Oh yeah.
Friday.
No, not that kind of Friday. Friday 13th, like Scary Friday. Yeah. So if you would like to join us on our conversation about the Friday the 13th movie franchise, you can join us by going to our Facebook page at theletterm.mcr or on our Twitter page at the letter M on MCR, or you can go to our email actually at thelettermonmcr@gmail.com. So application. So how can we take a slasher movie like the Friday the 13th movies and apply them to our Christian life?
Oh, there's
when you started like watching all these films and rewatching, what are like some of the things you think you can apply to your spiritual life?
Okay, for one, it's just that there, like we said earlier, there's just a huge basis for morality in it. A ton. Like you live if you're the moral person for the most part. Like if you are the most moral person in the movie.
Yeah.
That's not. But it places a good emphasis on being just being the best person you can be. So I mean, spiritual growth would definitely be an emphasis here. Like just doing that, like and that's my big one. That's the big one, and that's the obvious one. So, and I'm just like, there's a lot of other things that we can find, like for example, like obedience to to elders. Like, people that are older in these movies are not looked upon like a lot. Like,
well, I mean, sometimes they're crazy.
Crazy, yeah, like the Ralph in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Like the guy that's driving the girl to camp, he's like, quit and just go, and like, please heed my warning. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so it's just like a lot of the movies, they have that same kind of thing. Although a lot of the grown-ups in these movies are not even or either nowhere to be found. Like in part 4 or part 3, there's not a single. Or part 3, actually at the beginning, the mom of one of the girls, Claire, I believe is her name, doesn't want her to go, and she goes anyhow. So, disobedience to your parents. Obey your parents.
Obey your parents, yeah, because they know what's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or at least honor and respect your parents.
Because sometimes they may not.
Yeah.
Go
sometimes it may not go with what God has planned for your life. Maybe they tell you not to do a certain thing.
Or maybe they tell you not to go to church or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. And you should go to church.
Yeah. So another thing. What's another thing that we can learn from Friday the 13th? I think that one thing that we can learn from Friday the 13th is we have to be vigilant. But there's a balance though, because and this is something that we always joke around about. So whenever people say like, I'll be back, or it's like there's like a creepy noise out there and like you go check it out, it's like that is vigilance, but I don't know if it's like we need like too much vigilance or just kind of like slightly vigilant, like kind of like that, because most of the people who are killed in Friday the 13th, they're either like, oh, let's find it, let's split up, or like, I'll be back, I'm gonna find out who the person is, or they're like investigating a noise and they get killed and stuff, and like, I mean, you can be vigilant, but at least you kind of like know when to like pull back and actually accept to yourself like, I need some help before checking out that noise or something.
Yeah.
Like there's like a lot of examples where in part 1, one of the blonde girls, she decided to check out outside while it was raining and she was already heading to bed. So she decided to check out like this screaming noise or something, and she ends up getting killed.
Oh man.
So instead of like calling 911 or whatever, she just like decided to like go out and she got killed.
Yeah. Which, I mean, honestly, I probably would do myself. So
you'd do that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're gonna die then if you're in a horror movie.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Yeah.
Also, that's another cool thing. Strength in numbers is one thing you can get from it, because it's always like, let's split up. Strength in numbers. When there's 2 of you, it's much harder. It's much harder to get to. Like in part 2, when there's 2 of them. That's part of that. Like, also, speaking of part 2, I would like to say that one of the kills is directly in the Bible.
Oh yeah, definitely. Are we allowed to say that?
Okay, well, you can fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Because I'm going to read you the passage in the Bible. You can let your mind wander, and you know exactly what it means.
This actually happened in part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is directly happening in part 2. So I'm going to read you. It's Numbers 25, verses 7 through 8. Well, the part of 8. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw this, he left the assembly, took a spear in his hand, and followed the Israelite into the tent. He drove the spear into both of them, right through the Israelite man and into the woman's stomach. Fill in the blanks of what was happening there. So,
that actually happened.
But that was directly in part 2 of Friday the 13th. It is no different. So, I mean, it was so funny when I read that, and I was like, wow. Are you serious? That was in part 2. I was so shocked. I was like, wow, that's cool. I gotta say this. Like, I gotta like it. And I mean, the Bible does contain violence. I'm just like, and here's also another point that somebody pointed out to me is that one of the major things that people say is like they don't watch it is because it's violent. But yet we watch a movie with 1,000 people dying. Or we'll watch Rambo, or we'll watch Saving Private Ryan. It's okay to watch Saving Private Ryan, but it's not okay to watch this because it's violent. I don't think so. The Bible contains violence too.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think we have to keep in mind when we're watching slasher movies is there's a line between entertainment and how do I say this without like sounding like really like arrogant or young creative or something like that. But there's a line between like entertainment and glorifying in people's miseries. Because like another reason why some people don't want to watch slasher movies is they think that it's basically like glorifying in the misery of others. You're like enjoying seeing how they get killed and stuff.
Yeah.
And and like so like the various points of like objectification and all that would come up and stuff, and like no, it's like it's sometimes entertaining to feel something different other than laughing or like being scared is also like an emotion that we have, and usually these emotions come out from like negative circumstances, which it should actually, because like if they don't come out in negative circumstances, then do you even have a nervous system? But it is also kind of like it's not that when you watch these films that you glorify violence or anything. It's just that this is, you're provoking another part of yourself, which is the fight or flight response. So
yeah, and I don't see a problem with and this is all based on really just your conscience. Really, if you feel like you don't want to watch them, fine, that's okay. But however, there are a lot of people who legitimately find it entertaining, me included in that number or whatever. But for those of you that don't, it's fine. However, just one thing is to make sure you're not like saying like, oh, like just criticizing the people that do. Yeah. Because there are people, and one thing that I wanted to mention too is that like another objection is that it could lead to like desensitizing people. Maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. However, what about before slasher movies were out? I mean, these have been going on for millions of, or whatever, thousands of years, whatever your worldview is. But like it's been going on for years. Think about the Romans. They had that back in their days with the Colosseum.
Yeah. Although it's more generally available right now because of the internet and everything. So I mean, usually like with the violence of those times, they were like localized.
Yes.
So there was something. There's always like something where some of the other people don't see it, but now it's like it's everywhere, pretty much. You can access it anytime that you want.
Yep.
So, but I mean, we kind of like understand that there are some people who may be really disturbed about this, and I mean, that's it. We're not criticizing you, we're not passing judgment, but maybe these things aren't for you if that is the case.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one thing to say like I don't want to watch it because it's evil. It's another whole thing to say like, I'm just not into violent movies or scary movies or something. Like that's a whole nother thing to say. Like, because these movies are not evil. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that there's evil in that. I think that you can find a lot of good in these movies.
Yeah, and
a lot of redeemable value.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also like time for us to accept that yes, there are people who are actually entertained by being scared. That's one thing. So because like we are all made by God differently, and there, like, for example, with cases wherein like it's not specifically mentioned in the Bible, like for example with in terms of like preferences, well, that just played out of nowhere. So yeah, so I mean, like for example with this, how are you wired to amuse yourself, pretty much. There are some people who are amused by crying in dramas. There are people who are amused by comedies. There are people who are amused by horror movies, by feeling scared, by having that adrenaline running in their bodies. So I mean, with those kinds of things, wherein it's not specifically mentioned in the Bible, and it doesn't affect your sanctification or even your salvation in Christ. I mean, you're still saved, even though horror movies give you that kind of entertainment. These are things we have to accept that yes, it is part of the Christian diversity of life. That there are different things that can entertain us. Like I usually laugh at horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've seen that when we watch Paranormal Activity, and I mean it's not like laughing because like they're terribly bad. I laugh because like I kind of know how they did the special effects, so it's kind of like something that doesn't really thrill me anymore. Although with Friday the 13th, because there's like some jump scares, I still got like legitimately scared.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I love about the Friday the 13th series is you can be legitimately scared at I'd say 5 of them. Like there's. And I can't wait to see the new one because I just it's going to be something different. Like I do think that they're going to try something new here again. Like
I just hope that they're not going to humanize Jason because like that's what they did with the new Halloween movies, and now like Jason is this like super disturbed guy who's like psychopath and like I mean it's kind of fine, but like it kind of removes like the element of evil. It makes you feel like, oh, this guy isn't evil. It's the people around him who's evil. That's why he turned out evil.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have evil within us. We have the sin nature and all that, and that's something that we have to deal with. And right now, it's something that people don't want to admit at all. That we have the sinful nature, and we have, we're evil pretty much.
Yeah. Also, I think it was much scarier when it's just like, oh, this guy just snapped one night, and he's just going around killing people. Like, I just think it's scarier to not know. Like, why is he... It just helps to not know. Like, it's just is scarier to not know. I don't know.
Because evil is usually like that. It is senseless,
Yeah.
I mean, like, for example, I was reading this article about this woman in a Chicago Walmart. She stabbed 3 people just to get the last Xbox. I am like, you are kidding me. And, like, she got arrested by the police, and she was unrepentant because she was like, my son is getting the last Xbox. And, like, you killed 3 people who are, like, made in the image of God just so your son could get a freaking Xbox. That is evil. Right there. It's unexplainable, but it's there. So, and I think that's, like, one of the things that I like about the Friday the 13th movie series. They don't aim to justify the evil that's in Jason. They just... show that yes,
they
Jason
just embrace
is
it and just do it. Like, and one of the things that like I mean, there's a lot of like we've been going on. Like there's a lot of things that you can find with it. You still may be objected to it, but however, like this is a series that like millions and millions of people are into and that love that are going to go see the movie when it comes out, including me, and I'm dragging whoever I can, and I will pay for you to go in because it is going to be amazing.
So basically, do we have anything else that we can redeem from the Friday the 13th movie franchise that we can think of?
Learn from past mistakes.
Yeah.
Because of all of the sequels, it's the same thing that happens again. Is that teenagers go and party and have fun, and the same thing happens. Learn from past mistakes. Learn from your past mistakes that you've committed, or of past mistakes from your family members or something.
Actually, it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know if the word is like demeaning, but it's kind of like demeaning that like teenagers are always like stereotyped in movies like this, like hard partying. They always want like beer, even though they're not like allowed to have beer or something like that. But then again, it's like I mean, those are like stock characters in literature anyway. So yeah, learn from past mistakes. Pretty much. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us tonight for Friday the 13th for the Friday the 13th movie franchise. Next week is it's our last episode next week. Yeah,
Christmas Story.
We're doing the movie A Christmas Story. So it was actually released in 1984, which it's a contemporary of the Friday the 13th movie franchise, actually. But it's become a movie classic all on its own.
Absolutely.
When was the first time you watched A Christmas Story?
when I was, I can't remember. As early as I can remember, I've watched A Christmas Story on 24 Hours of A Christmas Story on TBS. It's every year they play it for 24 hours on Christmas Eve to Christmas Day. 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and I watch it.
8 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
We used to wake up at 2 in the morning to get our stuff, so it was like we got like 4 hours of sleep, and we're running straight on adrenaline. And we would stay up and watch A Christmas Story. We could not go back to sleep. After we opened our Christmas presents, we were like, I wonder what we're gonna get at Grandma's. I wonder what we're gonna get at Grandma's. So like we would just be like so hyped on adrenaline that we would stay up and we would watch A Christmas Story. So and then after that we'd probably sleep 12 hours. I don't even remember, but
the first time I watched A Christmas Story was last year when I went home with Hunter Williams. By the way, we have to greet, they're probably back already from practice from Candlelight Carols. We would like to greet Hunter Williams, Mackenzie Mraz, Brooklyn DeVrue, Tim Carlson, Jenna Barbieri, and
Tiffany Ramsey.
Yes, so they're coming back, and if you're going to see Candlelight Carols, they will be like the people you're going to be seeing. So next week we're doing our Christmas theme episode with A Christmas Story and go to Candlelight Carols to complete the Christmas experience. Because if you are a Moody alumni, donor, or a student, if you don't go to Candlelight Carols, it's like you didn't have the complete Christmas experience, pretty much. So before we go, we would like to let you know that, again, we are not the only cool show here on MCR. There's other cool shows.
By far.
Like...
in the mix. I'm not even going to say...
In the mix, yeah. They're following us in like 12 minutes. So
yes, I will be listening.
You will be listening, yeah. Who else are the other cool shows here? I know our beautiful and stupendous program director has a show here on MCR too.
Face to Face.
Face to Face on Fridays.
From 6 to 7.
6 to 7.
Yes.
So what Face to Face would usually do is Adelina would usually interview like famous people like Moody professors and authors,
and
she
Andrew
would
Shroyer.
and Andrew Shroyer. Yeah, she's never invited us for Face to Face. Yeah, she should.
I'm willing to join.
I mean, we're like pretty famous here in at Moody anyway, so you know. And then also we have other shows like PD. We follow PD for In the Grind, so he's usually on from 7 to 8 on Mondays. And then what are the other shows that we have there on the list?
Okay, the Junior Gentile.
Yeah.
Fridays from 8 to 10.
8 to 10. So it's for this semester it's Isaiah, Asher, and Nick Lancy. But for next semester, it's going to be, yes, our favorite sexy Jew, Elias Alvial. Yes, and Nick Lancy.
My roommate.
Yes.
Table Talk, 10 to 12, Friday nights.
That's the one with Ed.
Get that throwdown on. Hoedown Throwdown.
Hoedown Throwdown.
On Thursday nights from 10 to 12.
Uh-huh.
Soundproof with lovely name of Jasmine. That's great. And then Tiana Galea.
Christiana Galea. Yeah.
And
I've seen her. She's led like worship a couple of times. She's like the Samoan lady. Yeah.
I was gonna say it looks awfully similar to Adelina's last name, but it's not the same.
Yeah. No. Adelina Galea. No, it's Galea.
The Den from 6 to 8 on Thursdays.
With Bear and Shane Dickinson.
Yes.
So the Den actually used to follow the Den. But we moved over to this time slot, which I think we're going to be keeping this time slot until next year anyway. So that would be good. So there's a lot of other cool shows. Also, we would like to let you know about like some of the things that are happening here at the Moody Bible Institute for the next few weeks that we're going to be together, which is like 2.5 pretty much before we go on Christmas break. So if you want to stay here at Moody and you are working on campus, just make sure that you turn in your residence hall request forms because residence halls are actually closing starting Friday, December 20th. So just submit your triple R before December 15th. Your triple R request forms are actually on mymoody.edu. Also, there's only like 3 chapels left. Or is it just like for this week? There's one for tomorrow, there's one for Wednesday and Thursday. I hope those are like the last. Or is there like 6? Okay. I mean, I don't really go to chapel anyway, so. Yeah. Well, I kind of go, but like I go to like different chapels and stuff. So, Also, there's something about like upcoming musical and drama auditions. What are those about?
Oh, well, I'll be a part of those.
Yeah, you're going to be auditioning? Oh, yeah.
The music and communications departments, oh, there you go, are calling upon all actors and singers. Oh, well, that's me and Ralph, or the band, or the actors.
I don't think they would like my kind of dialogue.
Oh, I don't think me neither. Come be a part of Moody's exciting performing arts community.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. We welcome all students of various backgrounds. That's cool. Maybe they accept charismatics. Experiences and
I'm sure they would.
Talent levels at auditions, and are thrilled about our upcoming opportunities this spring.
Mm-hmm.
That's December 10th at 7:30. I'm assuming PM, but I don't know.
I don't think anyone's going to be like auditioning in the morning, so I think that's PM.
Yeah, I wouldn't go in the morning.
Yeah.
December 13th at 6:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Choose one day. It's just both that you can choose one day. NAA alumni.
Yeah, we need our beauty sleep, so I'm not gonna go if it's like 7 o'clock. In the morning. Yeah.
Do you want to go? Do you want to revive your character of Jacob?
Oh no! Oh my gosh! Stop it! I don't know if that's going to be like Moody appropriate. Okay. By the way, that is not a porn film. By the way, I've never appeared in a porn film. Just letting you know, it's just a film that's like artsy.
Yes, it's very good.
It's very artsy.
It's one of my favorite movies. Being honest.
Oh my gosh! Well, we're going to say goodbye now. Oh, and we will see you again for a Christmas themed episode next week for A Christmas Story. So this is Van Ferro.
This is who am I this week?
Who are you this week?
Am I Joe Montana this week?
Are you like Bucky Kentucky?
Bucky Kentucky.
You were Bucky Kentucky. Like,
oh, I was, yeah.
Yeah, so we were like thinking of like screen names for Andrew before he started hosting the letter M, and those were like two of the choices, Joel Montana or Bucky Kentucky, before he arrived on Andrew Shroyer, which is his real name. So that's kind of like awesome. Well, hopefully you're going to join us on our last episode of the season next week. And it's not the last because we're getting like booted out or something. It's just that next week is like the last
Yeah, we're
week.
getting a reboot, hot just like the Friday the 13th.
We should have like the letter M 2O. No, it's not like 20 years or something.
Oh,
the letter M.
The letter M, M2O.
Yeah, M2O. Or
20
something.
years from now, we'll have to like reboot and get out here.
Yeah, we're just going to like
we'll bring
kick
Jamie
out.
Lee Curtis here too.
Yeah,
H2O.
we're just going to like kick out whoever's doing the radio show like 20 years later. Like, this is the letter M again.
Well, welcome back. You probably don't remember us, but
yeah, probably your fathers would. So, yes. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you. Not see you, but we hope to meet you next week for our last episode, which is our Christmas-themed episode, featuring the movie A Christmas Story, only here on Moody Campus Radio. And to end the night, here is Reliant K's Deck the Halls.